Millions of Americans are relocating just prior to the great chaos that is coming, Michael Snyder reports. Summer is moving season for millions of Americans, and many will end up relocating to an entirely different state. In the old days, such long-distance moves were often prompted by an employment change or the desire to be closer to family, but now political and ideological considerations are motivating many Americans to search for greener pastures. Just about all of us can feel that something has gone horribly wrong in this country. All around us, our society is literally coming apart at the seams, and it's become extremely clear that great chaos is coming. It's been said that birds of a feather tend to flock together, and that's especially true during challenging times. So now we're seeing an exodus of conservatives to red states and the exodus of liberals to blue states. The following comes from an article that was recently posted by PBS entitled, "Conservatives Move to Red States and Liberals Move to Blue States as the Country Grows More Polarized." Americans are segregating by their politics at a rapid clip, helped fueled by the greatest divide between the states in modern history. One party controls the entire legislature in all but 2 states. In 28 states, the party is in control has a supermajority at least one legislative chamber, which means the majority party has so many lawmakers that they can override the governor's veto. Not that that would be necessary in most cases, as only 10 states have governors of different parties than the one that controls legislature. This is really happening. But the article I just quoted makes it sound like the migration to red and blue states that we're witnessing is roughly equal, but that's not true at all. For example, hundreds of thousands of people have been leaving the state of California in recent years in search of a better life elsewhere. More than 500,000 people left California altogether between April 2020 and July 2022. Many of those ex-Californians have been relocating to Texas. In fact, approximately 300 Californians moved to the state of Texas on a daily basis in 2021. About 300 Californians moved to Texas each day in 2021, a staggering 111,000 people, newly released data shows. And that is double the 63,000 that made the same move in 2012, according to a new report from Storage Cafe, which examined California-Texas migration patterns over nearly a decade. And it turns out that lots of companies have been relocating from California to Texas as well. More than 100 companies have moved their headquarters to Texas since 2020, with 40% of them coming from California, the study found. But just like so many other blue states, it's been transformed into a cesspool of crime, drugs, homelessness, and violence. Once upon a time, crime was primarily limited to the bad areas, but that is no longer true. Let me give you an example. In one of the wealthiest areas of San Francisco, a gang of children wielding baseball bats has been ruthlessly assaulting nannies and young mothers in order to steal their cell phones. Children wielding bats are reporting attacking, robbing helpless mothers and nannies in a wealthy San Francisco neighborhood known for its young families. No Valley, which is also known locally as Stroller Alley because of the many families with young children who live there, experienced 11 phone robberies last week, which authorities believe are linked to a gang of youths who've also lately been assaulting women. Now, of course, in San Francisco, definitely is not alone. At this point, we're seeing the rising tide of violence all over the nation. Over the 4th of July weekend, the crime had made headlines all over the country. A bloody 4th of July weekend ended up with 150 people losing their lives. Homelessness is also a problem that has started to spiral completely out of control in blue states. Los Angeles has spent millions upon millions of dollars to try to solve their homelessness crisis, but it just keeps getting worse. Homelessness in Los Angeles skyrocketed over the last year, increasing by 10% in LA County and 9% in the city. leaving more than 75,000 people living on the streets of the county, in an epic setback for local leaders. 75,000 people living on the street. That's a whole city. Now, with each passing day, even more Americans end up in the streets of our major cities. For much more on this, you can see my previous article. The number of Americans living on the streets has broadly risen this year. And lastly, I wanted to briefly discuss our national drug crisis. More Americans are addicted to legal or illegal drugs than ever before, and overdose deaths just keep setting a new all-time high year after year. In major cities from coast to coast, addicts stagger around like zombies in the middle of our streets as they enjoy getting high, and even though they clearly understand that it may be the last high they ever experience. Things have gotten so bad that cocaine has even been discovered inside the White House for the very first time. Authorities are telling us that this is a mystery, how it got there, but others are pointing out that there is one very obvious suspect in this case. Our country is disintegrating right in front of our eyes, and as it falls to pieces, there will be great chaos, and this will especially be true in blue states and in major cities. And if you're going to relocate, I would advise you to do it now. Things may seem unstable now, but the truth is that they are not. They are only going to get crazier from here. This is by Michael Snyder. This is about the author. My name is Michael. And my brand new book is entitled End Times, now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing. And one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting those warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so you won't miss any of my articles. I have published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news, and the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely great help. These are such troubled times, and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.